Yes, good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report, presented by United in Peace, Inc. I got a very interesting show. I had a marvelous weekend. Cannes TV 40th year gala was out of sight. I want to let everyone know, too, that this show is also being produced by none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc. I'm just the president. The chairman, none other than my wife, Terry Marsh Bradley. I want to show you this award that I received. I want to tell you something about this event. I got to agree with Onyx Strategic Partners, LLC, when they said lights, camera, action. They were one of the supporters of the Chicago Access Network Television at their 40th year anniversary gala. Darius Hillman, hooray, hooray, hooray. I honor, respect, love, and I salute you for doing a magnificent job leading the growth of this organization. I'm getting this from Brother Clyde Robinson. He sent this to me in a LinkedIn, so I'm reading this to you. He says, kudos to the entire Cannes TV team. Congratulations to the award winners. Cook County Board President / Chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party, Tony Prattwinkle, Wallace Gator Bradley, moi, Corliss V. Gardner, Old National, the guy from Old National Bank, Ms. Gardner from Old National Bank as well. And his name was John Robach. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. There were some great leaders in the building. Nicole R. Robinson, John Teese, I hope I pronounced her name right, Gatlins, Bianca Cotton, Melissa Donaldson, Mark Assack, I hope I pronounced that right, but Brother Mark, it was 2 Marks there, hooray, hooray. Who knew that Matt Jonathan would win the raffle? Keep building good news content. And a special shout out to Hugo Balter. That was a magnificent. I got caught a little off guard, but I came to support, and I want to say this, me, myself, there's nothing more greater than to receive accolades from your peer group. I say your peer group. By me having a show on Cannes TV, all the directors and all the producers of Cannes TV and those that have shows, I see us all as a peer group. But to receive an award in that introduction, I might as well tell the truth. I think I owe that guy $1.50 for that introduction. It was a great introduction that he gave me. But with that, without further ado, could you play my speech so they can see the introduction that I got from Brother Darius?
Last year, this man asked for a meeting with me, my general manager, Dave Tainer, at the end of our meeting. I remember it. I remember where I was sitting. And I had this response before I can control, and I went, ooh, why? What does he want? Why does he want to meet with me? That voice of judgment haunted me almost immediately from the moment I let it come out. So much so that I researched this man. And it was during that research that I stumbled across a Los Angeles Times story about how his brother was murdered not a full week after being released from prison at the height of COVID on compassionate release. And when the world that he had left behind asked him how he wanted to exact revenge, do you know what his response was? It was, "Vengeance does not belong to me. It belongs to the Lord." And hand to God, as tears streamed down my eyes on that Sunday, a pang of shame for my initial reaction to the request for a meeting in my heart. The very next day, I not only asked for a meeting, but I reached out and invited this man to sit with me in conversation and community on In the Arena. And the title of that show was called The Ultimate Transformation. Because far too often, transformation, like so many other things, is performative. And it lasts only as long as the times are good. But true transformation, it shows up in the valleys, in the abyss, in the darkest moments, where pain often leads to revenge and reverting to old ways, but not for this transformed man. Community, please help me welcome to the stage the absolutely deserving recipient of the 2023 Power of Transformation Award, my friend, and I say it like I mean it, my brother, Wallace Gator Bradley.
I want to first off say to God be the glory. Hey, man, thank you. Tony, Brett Winkle, I want to thank you. I watched your growth and development from the time that Stroh just said he was no longer going to let the Democratic Party, Cook County Democratic Party, say that you shouldn't be allowed to run for alderman. I want to thank a lot of people. I want to thank my parents. I want to let everybody know I'm a parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, former gang enforcer, ex-felon, got a pardon. Can TV allowed me to be a voice for those that sought redemption by virtue of the fact asking God for forgiveness and coming back to the community to make the community better from their trials and tribulations. I'm one of those. I have no shame about my friendship to Larry Hoover. He shared a vision with me. That's why I admire Darius. When I met him, he told me the vision that he had for CAN TV. My show, United Peace, is called The Bradley Report. I've interviewed a lot of politicians, a lot of people from the streets. But this honor, tonight mean a lot to me. Because it's very important. It's that old saying, during the 60s, our culture was beat the drum to get the word out. But now with so much violence and hate around the world, where we see the things that we have fought for, the right for the woman to have control and say so over her body, the right for affirmative action, the right to vote. When we see them getting rid of public TV, I love the fact that I can stand and say the city of Chicago created CAN TV. It ain't controlled by no government body. If I want to say this, I'm gonna leave it alone. The migrant situation and the community not understanding that to expect, you got to give. You got to have love for humanity for all. I went to the Fourth Ward Senior Citizens gathering the other day, and I saw President Tony Pratt-Winkle. You're gonna hear me talking about our lot because our lives intertwined. And when I saw her introduce future leadership, the new Fourth Ward Alderman, the new mayor, all I can say is, Tony, to God be the glory. That's my story. I love, honor, and salute you. You know, that's why you know God's plan. When things happen, when you think, in my opinion, you think you're at the lowest point of your life and you're trying to figure things out, then you remember what a lot of people may have told you. Hey, be they preachers, be it your wife, be it a friend, whether you're at the barbershop or your manicures, you know what I mean? Or your buddy at the bar. And say, man, Gator, do the simple thing that you hear everybody say, that God say, get out your own way. And when you get out your way and you let go and you let him, all things work. It may be mysterious to others, but I guess that's what miracles are. I spoke about the county board president, Tony Pratt-Winkle, and the things that I have watched her do. And I want to show you what I'm talking about. Could you play the next piece?
That's right. You're right, sister. So, you know, one of the special moments that I've had throughout this journey is being connected with the people who made my life possible. And for many of you all, sure, you can appreciate the journey that black folks took to get to the city of Chicago. And that journey was not an easy one. And my father was the oldest, and my grandmother and all of her brothers came up from Salis, Mississippi, stopped on the west side of Chicago. My grandmother eventually settled in 79th and Ashland. My uncles went up to Pontiac and Detroit. But they came here because they wanted an opportunity for their children and their children's children. And to be in a room full of individuals who have made my life possible, those of you who are educators, those of you in this room who have served your faith communities as Sunday school teachers, small business owners, you've raised families in the city of Chicago, and unfortunately all of your hard work has been taken for granted because you've had politics and policies that have worked to undermine the very hope and promise that our people wanted when we got here.
You better listen.
And unfortunately, we've had a political structure that has taken away homes, schools, mental health services, and then they have nerve to come after our pensions. But when Alderman Robinson talks about where we're headed, make no mistake about it, the better, stronger, safer Chicago that I fought for as a candidate is the same better, stronger, safer Chicago that we are leading in this moment. And what does that look like? Within a short period of time, 6 months, for the first time in the history of Chicago, the chairs of budget, finance, and rules are all being led by black people.
You better
listen. The first time finance chair, black woman.
That's right. That's right.
The deputy mayors of economic development, of education, deputy mayor of community safety, my budget director, my policy director, all black people.
You better
That's
listen.
where we're headed.
That's where we are.
A new superintendent who is the son of Eaglewood. These are investments that we are making by putting the right people in charge of the very system that we're going to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. Yeah. And what does that look like? We've abolished sub-minimum wage, and so individuals who were temp workers, they're going to get a raise. We just passed paid time off. We have invested $250 million more into the unhoused, of which 70% of those who are unhoused are black people. And that's why we're going to pass Bring Chicago Home to make sure that we have a revenue stream to do right by our people.
Right.
In order for us to have a better, stronger, safer Chicago, you cannot have it without investing in the very neighborhoods that have been disinvested in over time. And finally, the mental health clinics that were shut down. Remember that a couple of administrations ago? Well, my administration is committed to opening up to get us back on track to have mental health clinics all over the city.
Yeah.
This budget was built with the hope and the promise of those who came up, whether you came up from Dallas, Mississippi, like my family, or North Carolina or Louisiana. Chicago is the greatest freaking city in the world because it was built off of working people and particularly black folks. And that's the type of leadership that we have in City Hall. And guess what? We've done all this in 6 months. My wife still loves me. My kids still call me daddy. And I get to be the mayor of the greatest freaking city in the world. God bless you all. Listen, one of the most popular teachers of all time is in the room. Our mentor, our leader. Y'all know a little bit about her in the 4th Ward. Come on, y'all, make her feel really good. This is her home. Cook County Board President, leader of the Democratic Party of Cook County, Tony Breckley.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm very grateful to be here, although I have to say, trying to follow the mayor is a tough task. I was blessed to be alderman of the 4th Ward for 19 years. And I
Good job.
all of you for the help and support that you gave me during the time that I was alderman, and of course the help and support that you gave me so that I could be president of the county. I really loved the job of being mayor. But I wasn't elected mayor. I am grateful.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
were able to elect
Yes, ma'am.
this young man the job. And don't you all agree that he's done a great job in 6 months? God works in mysterious ways, right? And we are blessed to have him, let me tell you. Come on, come up here too. So I am very pleased and proud to have supported both of these young men. You know, I always say as a teacher, it's your obligation not just to do your job, but to make a way for the next generation. And surely the next generation is represented by these 2 young men.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for the help and support that you gave me, the help and support that you're giving our mayor and our alderman. I want to apologize to you because this is one of those crazy nights, just like the mayor. I've got 3 or 4 things ahead of me tonight, as he does as well. And neither of us is going to be able to stay this evening. But thank you for coming out. Thank you for the support that you have given to me and to these 2 young men. And thank you for the good work that you did building and supporting the communities of the Fourth Ward. Thank you so much.
Let us give our mayor and Madam President another round of applause.
You know, what I love about Brandon Johnson is the fact that he believed in a multicultural, multi-generational, enough for everybody movement to govern this city. But there's the issue that we got to talk about. Could you hit that next story?
Judy, the video campaign entitled Dear Brandon goes straight at Mayor Johnson, and the first episode features James Gibson on the left, who served more than 29 years for a double murder before it was determined he'd been tortured by Chicago police into confessing. As the I-Team has reported, City Hall continues to fight cases such as Gibson's long after the wrongly convicted have been found innocent.
Brandon, my name is James Grant Gibson. I served 29 years, 4 months, and 7 days of malicious prosecution, false imprisonment, and torture. I've been issued a certificate of innocence and exonerated. I've been awarded $200,000 from the state of Illinois. So what is there to relitigate against the city now?
The Dear Brandon campaign will feature individuals wrongly convicted and mothers who have lost their sons to unjustified police shootings in Chicago, placing public pressure on the mayor to stop spending hundreds of millions of dollars fighting suits against Chicago by wrongfully convicted people who have certificates of innocence, which are granted by a judge. I-Team investigations have found this practice has been happening for decades, with taxpayers coughing up millions to outside law firms for predictable legal losses and court fights experts say the city should never undertake.
It was been a disgrace and a horrible part of Chicago's history. We already know James Gibson is going to win his case, whether it's at trial or via settlement.
After it was determined notorious ex-CPD commander John Burge had tortured Gibson, he was cleared of killing 2 people in 1989, but had served 29 years, 4 months, and 7 days.
They took everything. They took everything. They tried to take my morals and my principles. This is a picture of my mama. They sent me in prison when she died. And they wouldn't allow me to go see her. Dear Brandon Johnson, take a direct course and direct action in stopping this political red tape with this madness and wasting taxpayers' money.
I've been fighting this fight for these brothers through 3 different administrations. This brother right here, he got found guilty of killing a young kid and abusing a young kid. But he was the one that committed the crime that the police end up torturing another individual I talked about him 3 weeks ago named Mark Maxson. Because of the DNA, that guy I just showed you committed another murder after the little kid I got killed, and they sent this guy, Mark Maxson, to the penitentiary. When this guy, Wade, caught the murder and he got swabbed and his DNA was in the system, Mark Maxson and his lawyers, I know because I was an urban translator in this case to free him. I did a bit in Stateville, and as God would have it, I went back to Stateville to free Mark Maxson. He got a certificate of innocence, and the difference in his certificate is that they was able to catch the individual that committed the murder. That man wrote letters, talking about Wade, wrote letters to the family of the victims, wrote letters to Mark Maxson and apologized and gave a tape confession, pled guilty to get 50 years for the crime that he committed. And I know the mayor's going to do the right thing. He got a new finance chairman, that's Alderman Pat Dow. He got a new budget chairman, that's Jason Irvin. They got a new corporate counsel, and I believe they're going to get it right and stop that pinstripe patronage. Without further ado, I want to say to God be the glory for me and you, and that's my story.